Welcome to AKTV, the bi-weekly movie news opinion show. Today, we're talking about how Tarantino doesn't respect movies anymore, how he actually doesn't have a ton of interest in making movies any longer. He wants to head over into theater, apparently. This is coming from the self-proclaimed movie guy, the movie aficionado. So we're going to get into that first. Then we're going to talk about how the Oscar nominations this season are the most embarrassing, dumbest, the most confusing nominations that I have ever seen, and much, much more. Okay, so Tarantino, let's get into it. This popped into my feed a few days back, and honestly, it was super depressing. It kind of bummed me out when I read it. So he flew into Utah he went to the Sundance Film Festival, but he wasn't there to like watch any of the films or anything. He went there for this one interview, apparently, with Elvis Mitchell. This is what he said in the interview. I'm in no hurry to actually jump into production. I kind of want not to do whatever movie I end up doing until my son is at least 6. That way, he'll know what's going on. He'll be there, and it will be a memory for the rest of his life. If you're wondering what I'm doing right now, I'm writing a play, and it's going to be probably the next thing I end up doing. If it's a fiasco, I probably won't turn it into a movie, but if it's a smash hit, it might be my last movie. That's a big deal, pulling a play off, and I don't know if I can. So here we go. That's a challenge, a genuine challenge. But making movies? Well, what the is a movie now? What? Something that plays in theaters for a token release for 4 weeks? All right. And by the second week, you can watch it on television. I didn't get into this business for diminishing returns. I mean, it was bad enough in 97. It was bad enough in 2019. And that was the last year for movies. And that was a deal as far as I was concerned. The fact that it's got drastically worse, and that is just a pony show exercise. Now the theatrical release, and then, in 2 weeks, you can watch it on this streamer or that one. Okay. Theater? You can't do that. It's the final frontier. Okay, Tarantino, how about this idea? How about, wouldn't it be even cooler if you made multiple movies for your son to have all of those memories instead of just waiting till he's a little bit older? You could make lots of movies and show him how cool it is and give him lots and lots of memories. So this 11 movie, I know you're saying 10, technically it's 11 though. It's all ego, dude. It's all ego, and to me as a fan, it just is feeling like, well, it feels like you're a faker. You see all of these videos on YouTube of Tarantino talking about, films that he has been watching all of his life and how they've had all these huge influences on him as he's grown into becoming his own director and his own writer and his own actor. And it pushed him in first wanting to be an actor, which turned into him being a writer-director. And he just talks just such this huge game. And then his true colors start to come out. I feel like now that he's saying these things, he's getting older and he's made great movies and his ego is full. He feels like he's unstoppable. And I think that we are all getting an opportunity to see Tarantino's true colors, which are, I don't actually care about film that much. Because when you compare Tarantino to a Scorsese or a Nolan, who actually have true love for the craft of making movies and see where they've came from and where they're going and their value in society and value in sharing stories and all of the rest, the difference is they're blinding. You can see that Quentin still has like this old school actor's mindset, basically just like a fame mindset. He doesn't care about the craft. He doesn't care about inspiring the kids that will see his work in the future, that will inspire them to make movies and to write movies. He doesn't care about any of that. He only cares about his image and his ego, his 10 movies, so that he doesn't look bad or embarrass himself or whatever. And in my opinion, it is clear he's embarrassing himself now, and it's hurting our perception of him way more than a 3-star movie ever could. So it just bums me out as one of those kids, one of those people that looked at Tarantino like, dang, he made it. He came from nothing. He is a fantastic writer, director. The people that work with him love him, all this stuff. But I guess I thought of him as more of a fan. You see, like myself as a huge fan of film and of storytelling, you see someone who in Tarantino, you kind of project yourself a little bit like, oh man, like we are the same, right? And maybe that's on me, but it's like, I just feel like he's a faker. He's not actually in it he just is an extremely talented guy that obviously worked hard to get where he is, but he really just cares more about his image and his ego. And yeah, I don't know, I just thought better of him. Kind of just, it really does bummed me out. Okay, so next up we have the Oscar nominations and just how embarrassing they are. Have you seen these freaking nominations? I'm just gonna hit on some of these big things that really rubbed me the wrong way. So I'm not gonna get crazy with it and like go all into the Oscars. Just a few big glaring mistakes and omissions specifically. So for the leading and supporting actors and actresses, so those 4 nominations, there are no Dune 2 nominations. None for leading supporting actors or actresses, or for Nosferatu. So no Dune 2s and no Nosferatu supporting leading actresses, which is wild. But it's the directing nomination that is the huge glaring omission. So guess who didn't get nominated? 2 people, John M. Chu for Wicked or Denis Villeneuve for Dune 2. That is so wild to me. The 2 biggest, most popular movies of the year, they both grossed over $700 million. Together, they bring in nearly $1.5 billion. It is just so crazy that neither of these directors got nominated for these movies. Dune 2 is unreal, right? It has a 4.4 in Letterboxd, which is wild, and Wicked has a 3.9, which is also an extremely good score. People loved these movies, and you're not going to nominate either one of these directors for Best Director. It just is crazy that neither of them are nominated. The last thing I wanted to bring up with the nominations is, well, I feel it's like the smoking gun as far as like the Academy, whoever the Academy is, have completely lost their minds. They have no idea what they're talking about and have lost all touch with reality and with just the regular movie watcher. They've also lost all credibility if they hadn't already lost it all. So there's 2 writing nominations you can be put up for. You can either be put up for writing an adapted screenplay or an original screenplay. So I had to look it up just to make sure, right? So I looked up what is considered an adapted screenplay. So the sources for an adaptation can be based on novels, books, memoirs, articles, short stories, TV series, other films, or plays. And did I say novels or books? Because guess what didn't get nominated? Denis Villeneuve for Dune 2. It is embarrassing and crazy that Denis didn't get nominated for writing an adapted screenplay for Dune 2, because it is the biggest movie of the last, since what? Endgame? It was huge. And the fact that it didn't get nominated, and he didn't get nominated at all this year, that he got totally snubbed, is just seriously the worst. And the Academy, they don't know what they're talking about. And the last thing I want to just eke in here is Civil War not being nominated for sound design is criminal. If you like these kinds of videos and you want to see more, please subscribe. Tapping that little red button goes a long way. A couple of other pieces of news. Guy Pearce says that he was in Memento. Guy Pearce, in an interview just barely, he said, "I was trying to do a flippant attitude, but it was all wrong." John Gildig once said, "You can be good in a good movie, good in a bad movie, bad in a bad movie, but never be bad in a good movie. Yet I watched Memento and realized I'm bad in a good movie." I like little stories like these, little interviews. It's sort of like the opposite of Tarantino, basically, where you've got a guy who realized, he maybe wasn't the best as he could have been. He messed up. He's grown from it. He learned from it. He's laughing at himself, a little self-deprecation. I just wanted to throw this in there. I think it's interesting, too, because I don't think that he was that bad in Memento. I think he's being a little too hard on himself. Now, I did recently go back and watch Memento, and hot take, I don't think that it quite held up as well as I remembered. You can watch my Nolan ranking after this to kind of hear my full thoughts on that. And the last thing that I want to talk about is Robert Eggers is back in the news. He is wasting no time. He just finished Nosferatu, and he's already announced his next project, which I'm super stoked for. I'm stoked that he was so quick to move on to the next thing. Just means that he's in a flow. He's got a lot of momentum. Love to see it. The next thing he's going to be doing is he's going to write and direct a Labyrinth sequel. Now, I have never seen the original Labyrinth, but like Nosferatu, I hadn't seen the originals of that movie either, and I ended up watching them both because I'm a huge Eggars fan, and Labyrinth will be interesting to see what he does with it, especially after I watched the first one to see what it's all about. And anyways, I'm just always excited to hear about directors who love the craft. Talking about loving the craft. Holy cow, Robert Eggers versus Quentin Tarantino, right? Robert Eggers, you never see the guy. And all of his movies, they're so well written, and so the worlds are always like so immaculate and so accurate. Anyways, Labyrinth being one that's not like based, like The Witch was, you know, very much based in that old English time world. Then you've got the Northmen, which is very much the Vikings, and then you had Nosferatu, and he's like playing off that. So the Labyrinth being basically all made up and mystical. I'm very curious to I think it'll give him more freedom, which will, I think, be a very good thing. And now to wrap the show up, what's coming in February for you to check out, watch, mark your calendars. Invincible comes out February 6th, so by the time you're watching this, it's already out. Amazon Prime. I'm caught up on Invincible. It's kind of hit or miss for me. There's like the filler that I really dislike, and it makes me not want to watch it. But then when it's good, the meat of Invincible is awesome, and that's what keeps me just barely hanging on, because the meat of the show is fantastic. But yeah, like I said, the filler of Invincible, I don't love. Then we have Yellow Jackets season 3. It comes out on February 14th on Paramount Plus with Showtime. I watched the first season. I didn't love it. My wife really liked it. I think that Yellow Jackets is geared a little bit more towards a female audience. So if you dig it, I'm stoked for you. And the third season comes out February 14th. And if you have Paramount Plus with Showtime, I mean, let's start merging these. You know what I'm saying? Then what I'm most excited for this month as far as streaming is definitely White Lotus season 3. Heck yeah, February 16th, so the middle of the month on Max. Super stoked. The first 2 seasons are awesome. It's super unique. It's awesomely well written. Awesomely well written. I haven't seen any trailers or anything for it, because when I know I'm going to see something, I'll usually try to avoid stuff just so that I can go in completely fresh, completely blind, and just enjoy everything for the first time without having like trailer stuff in my head. So those are the 3 big streaming series that are coming out this month. As far as movies, we have Hurt Eyes, Love Hurts, Captain America, Brave New World, Paddington in Peru, The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, and The Monkey. Of all of the movies dropping this month, the one I'm most excited for definitely is Captain America. Just kidding. Definitely The Monkey. I think that Osgood Perkins, this is right in his wheelhouse. A little horror, comedy, super gory, wild, crazy. I think it's going to be awesome, but if you're looking forward to Paddington in Peru, I don't hold it against you, because Paddington is great. That's it for this show. Patreon.com/Austin Kohler. Right now, the collaborator tier, where you write into the show for videos like this, it is free for 7 days. So you can head over there, drop me a little line, and I'll read your comment in one of the videos and shows that I make. Subscribe here or click here for more videos. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.